Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For this video, I'm going old school and I'm going to be reacting to the real reason the original Power Rangers were fired. Okay, so I loved Mighty Morphin Power Rangers growing up. I grew up in the 90s. I was obsessed. Like, I think it was on Fox and I think it came out after school and Saturday. Was this part of the Saturday morning lineup? I don't remember, but I think it was weekdays after school. And also during summer vacation, I'll be watching Power Rangers, Power Ranger movie. I was all up into Power Rangers until the second movie. I think up to the second movie, then I fell out of Power Rangers because I grew up. But yeah, when I was growing up, Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I was all up on it. I watched it before going to school, came back. Yeah, that's... What year did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers come out? Because I used to watch it before going to school and then coming back home after school. Anyway, I was a huge fan growing up. So we're going to see what happened to the original people, why they were fired. And please subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what else I should react to. And let's get started.
Back off, Fang Face! The good guys are here! Get off our planet!
Because we're the Power Rangers! And we're not backing down! Yeah!
This is one of the most lasting entertainment franchises of all time. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers exploded into the 90s with Megazord-like force, and since then has become a key element in our cultural zeitgeist. Over the last 28 years, fans of the Power Rangers have been treated to 3 feature films, over 60 comic books, and over 900 episodes of spin kicks and giant robots with no signs of slowing down.
They still have Power Rangers now? Which Power Rangers are they? Power Rangers what? I don't know.
Anytime in the near future. Despite almost 3 decades of success, the Power Rangers got off to kind of a rocky start. If you remember correctly, 3 of the original cast members in the show's first season were replaced before the second season started filming. Austin St. John, Twee Trang, and Walter Emmanuel Jones, aka the original Red, Yellow, and...
Didn't the original Red Ranger, like... Didn't he get into gay porn or something? Just for a little bit, maybe? That's what I heard.
And Black Power Rangers. And what happened there is a lesson in not only knowing...
But the funny thing is, I guess he was only there for the first season. But yeah, he came back. Like he still does Comic Cons. Not Comic Cons. Is that Comic Con? Like when the meet and greets and stuff. He's still part of the original group. But yeah, that was interesting to know. But didn't he come back later in another Power Rangers series? But anyway.
Your value to a project, but also taking action in order to get what you feel like you're worth. The first season of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a colossal success. This is huge for a television show and often huge for all the actors involved. Success means more. More episodes, more work, more fans, and usually more money.
I used to have that toy.
Oftentimes, when a show or a film is successful, the actors involved are able to negotiate higher salaries to continue their work. A good example of this is Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man. He was paid a mere $500,000 to star in Iron Man 1. After the film's success, Robert Downey Jr. was able to then negotiate a higher salary, and by the time he was filming Infinity War, he was estimated to have made about $75 million for the film.
Dang.
With the success of Power Rangers, it would only seem reasonable that the cast was paid a fair wage based on the show's overnight success.
But I always thought it was funny in Power Rangers, like when their watch beep, like do 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 do, like no one else heard them. No one else noticed that every time that sound comes on, they like run and hide together. Like Bulk and Skull didn't notice this either. And no one was around to see them talking to the watch or teleporting.
Right? Sadly, that was not the case. To understand this better, we'll need to take a look at the differences between union and non-union productions. The primary actors union for film and television is called the Screen Actors Guild, or SAG. Rather than make an attempt to fully explain union and labor laws, we're going to kind of gloss over some key details about the Screen Actors Guild. Working on a union project comes with a lot of benefits. First off, there are mandatory minimum wages. Actors are paid overtime if a production lasts longer than 10 hours in a day. They are entitled to benefits, and there are even bonus structures in place for working with hazards like fire or explosives, working with smoke, or even if performers are required to get wet, among others. There are a lot of bells and whistles that come from a SAG contract, but the point here is that a union like SAG ensures that performers are protected from exploitative working conditions and compensated fairly for their time.
I hurt my leg.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I didn't even walk on it at all.
No way, you're lying.
I'm not lying
Tell
to
me.
you.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a non-union production, meaning that nobody working on the show was ever part of the Screen Actors Guild. There are no guidelines for paying or protecting performers or crew in a non-union project. The pay could be $50 per day, or even nothing at all. Some non-union projects...
Dang, I wonder how much they got paid then. Because it's a lot of, they're doing a lot of stunts, right?
Projects even cite exposure as the pay, as if actors could pay their bills with exposure. The bottom line here is that by switching production to non-union status, the production company behind Power Rangers, Saban Entertainment, was able to circumvent some of the most costly aspects of making a television show, namely, paying their performers. The cast of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were paid $600 per week. Given that shoots would often run long and were physically demanding, this wage is almost criminally low. Saban took even further advantage of that non-union status and didn't offer any royalties for episodes in syndication for any members of the cast. The actors that were hired were all pretty new to the film television business. Austin St. John was a martial arts student and still in high school when he got cast. Thuy Trang was a 20-year-old student of Shaolin Kung Fu entering her first role. Amy Jo Johnson, who played Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, landed the role 1 month into her foray into acting. Blue Ranger David Yost was cast after only auditioning for 3 months. The point here is that these performers were inexperienced, young actors being offered a role in a television show for the first time. It's doubtful that they were thinking about the subtle nuances of contract negotiations when they accepted. As we stated earlier, the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a huge success. The actors were very aware of the show's exploding popularity, and as they watched the flood of merchandise sales grow to an overwhelming degree,
This is totally terrific!
they grew frustrated that they still were making $600 per week. According
That's
to
so
some of the cast
cheap.
members, there may have been an attempt to get the principal ensemble to push Saban Entertainment into creating a union production, but those talks fell through. After that happened, Austin St. John, Thuy Trang, and Walter Emmanuel Jones stopped showing up to voiceover sessions in protest over their low wages. There were threats of leaving, and this battle of attrition went about as far as it could possibly go. There's that age-old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the most grease. Well, sometimes if the wheel is too squeaky, it gets replaced entirely. That's what happened to these 3 performers. Austin St. John was fired and replaced with the new Red Ranger, Rocky, played by Steve Cardenas. Walter Emmanuel Jones was replaced with Johnny Young Bosch as the new Black Ranger, Adam Park. And Thuy Trang was replaced with Karen Ashley, the new Yellow Ranger, Aisha.
I present to you the new Power Rangers. We will now start the ceremony to transfer power from Jason, Zach, and Trini to Rocky, Adam, and Aisha.
Dang, I'm surprised they showed up to do this transfer of roles.
Just like that, it was over. And the message was sent to the rest of the cast that you can and will be replaced if necessary. After all, these characters...
Oh yeah, and
The rest of the cast that you can and will be...
I've seen an interview. They still do like meet and greets, and I've seen her and him and him and him like recently doing interviews, I think on Zoom or something. But yeah, I think sometimes Amy Jo Johnson and what's his name, Billy? I don't know his real name, but yeah, sometimes they're there. But these 4 are like the main ones that come out to the meet and greets now, I guess. And also the original Red Ranger sometimes.
Replaced if necessary.
But I guess that's how they make their money.
These characters spent over half of every episode inside of a dinosaur helmet that disguised their identity. So the rationale was likely that it didn't really matter who was in the suit. A few of the other cast members dropped off pretty quickly after those 3 got fired. Amy Jo Johnson left the show in the middle of season 2 due to safety concerns. She was almost set on fire during the production of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, and was electrocuted during the filming of 1997's Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. Things that likely wouldn't have happened on a union project. David Yost hung in there until Power Rangers Zeo, despite being bullied on set due to his sexuality. But that's for a whole
I heard
separate
about that.
episode. Since then, there have been over 20 different actors to play every different Power Ranger. In fact, the swapping of cast members has become an expected part of the Power Rangers universe. They took the initial firing of those first 3 Power Rangers and effectively made it into a canonical element of the show.
Zordon, what are we gonna do without a Pink Ranger?
There is somebody out there that can take my place.
Hi, everyone.
The power's all yours now.
It continues to serve the show well in terms of keeping things fresh and also eliminates any leverage that a cast member might be able to use against the production.
The intro is so 90s. Like the turning to the camera when they show your name.
And also
That's so
eliminates
90s.
any leverage that a cast member might be able to use against the production company. In 2018, after Hasbro acquired Power Rangers from Saban, it was announced that the show was moving toward hiring union performers. But still, that's almost 25 years of getting away with dramatically underpaying your performers. It's part of the reason that there is a necessity for agents, managers, and labor unions in the entertainment industry. A lot of this comes down to what is in the writing. Non-union contracts can have tricky language, and in them, performers may sign their rights to overtime away. They may waive their rights to getting paid for rehearsals and not even know it. Whatever the case may be, your personal value isn't determined by a contract or a membership to a fancy union or anything like that. Your personal value is determined by you and you alone. In the case of the Power Rangers, these performers felt like they were worth more than $600 per week, made a stand, and ultimately were cut loose. But just because they were fired doesn't diminish their value. Despite getting replaced on the show, Austin St. John and Walter Emmanuel Jones are still making appearances at conventions across
See,
the nation.
that's what I said.
Amy Jo Johnson has found success as a filmmaker. She successfully crowdfunded her first feature film, The Space Between, in 2017. David Yost started his own clothing company back in Texas. Heck, even the voice of Alpha, Richard Horvitz, has gone to become a voiceover legend as the voice of Zim in Nickelodeon's
Oh, he
Invader
was
Zim.
in.
In an industry that is constantly taking advantage of its performers, sometimes
love the
only
effects.
person you can really trust is yourself. And that's it for today's episode of Nerdstalgic. If you enjoyed it, press the like button down below. If you haven't yet done so, please also hit subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you all for our next video.
Okay, y'all, subscribe to him. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that those 3 from the original cast left because they were, what did they say? They're on strike. They didn't show up for voiceovers and stuff. They're over it because they're only getting paid $600 a week. $600 a week. They should have got paid $600 an episode at least. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and let me know what else I should react to. And if you want to see my experiences in Korea, you can check out my first channel, SEKSHI. And if you want to see what I do outside of YouTube, you can check out my Instagram and my TikTok. Both are SEKSHI. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.